Good morning, good morning. My name's John Wright, and you know what? I sit here and I actually analyze things over and over again. I started in my back room when I got up this morning, and what I have is my bedroom's back there, but I have computers set up in an L shape around my room like this here so I could see monitors, like two monitors here and one monitor there. I used to have a fourth one in there, and some things you can do too much, so I've got two here. I used to have two or three over there. I used to have four back there. So, I could turn on a lot of computers and I can go over a lot of things at the same time, just moving from this part of the project to that part of the project and stuff without messing things up too bad. You know, I'll tell you what, if you want to know a lot about putting things in order, I was so impressed when I talked to my niece, and that would be Kevin's daughter, and I only have a little bit of time when I get to talk to the opportunity of talk to these children, because you know what, we're kind of at odds here, and there's been a friction and stuff, and a lot of times every action has equal opposite reaction. If I do a positive thing, positive things happen. And I met this guy, he's a Russian scientist, and over a few years, we talked back and forth. He's got a computer program I use on my lottery and stuff. Matter of fact, I got my lottery tickets right here. And I was thinking about doing some. And I was actually going through my files because I have some winning lottery tickets that shows how many times that I've got 5 in a row out of 6 in the Washington State Lottery. I'm pretty good at picking out numbers and stuff, I found out. And math, I could do math kind of like different, where even the college woman at the Phoenix Center, said to me, she goes, you do good math. She says, how do you do the work? And one day I was stoned, I come in the room and she caught me on that. She must have caught me right in the mood, because she just got me to jump right up there and just whop it out on the blackboard. And she goes, wow. She goes, how did you do that? I go, well, I checked my math in my head. She goes, really? I go, yeah. She goes, you mean you just flip out the answer? And I go, yeah. Now, Herb Kreitzer down at the bowling alley, he challenged me one night because he goddamn couldn't figure out how I was goddamn having all this business at the bowling alley, I guess. So he's down there and he's challenged me on a Saturday night. He's sitting there with his little doing math, and I'm sitting there doing all these customers and stuff in the math in my head with all these tickets and stuff going on, and I'm just fucking flipping out the numbers like this, and all of a sudden Herb just picks up that thing and goes, God damn, fuck it. He throws it underneath the thing and says, do it. Because I'm doing faster than he's doing on that. I was challenged. Me and her was trying to say, yeah, me versus you on a Saturday night. I got you, Herb. Oh, geez, that was so goddamn fun. But it's really fun when you do stuff right in front of people, and it's goddamn a blast, too, by the way. So, anyway, when you're the world's champion, goddamn, I have a belt right over there to prove it. I bought about $500 from Walmart, basically $450 something. So anyway, that was bucket and a half. So anyway, hey, I want to show you guys something. I don't like to blow smoke up people's assholes. But look. Here, let's just make sure that everybody gets the idea here. Now, what's this? Where's my camera? Is this the camera? Okay. This is the document. Zodiac Killer. You see, this here's from California, and if you read this, you will realize that the letter down below is the Paul Stein letter from the Zodiac killing, and that's ample evidence that George Wright is the Zodiac Killer. And I had a Washington State Sheriff here yesterday, and he seen my face next to the little placard that I've been wearing right here. A Washington State Sheriff was here yesterday, and he identified my face as the same face as this. I told him about the Millhouse Smokehouse, and you know what he said? Well, your dad's a hero. I said, boy, I goddamn was pissed off that my dad was a goddamn criminal. Now there's a picture of Rick Rife. Well, you look at the picture of Rick Rife, and you look at this picture of my dad. I don't know. You see, because they've passed Rick Rife off. They've did this, and they put Rick Rife in prison for Jerry Wright. Jerry Wright murdered the Merwins, and this man is sitting in Lewis County, or sitting in a prison. I think it's in Walla Walla, possibly. And there's the picture of Rick Rife. I knew Greg Rife. Now look, victims have pictures. Victims have pictures. This car right here, a car similar to that, same color and everything. I caught my dad cutting that car in half, and it was put in outside of Morton, Washington, in the dump deposited. Where the antenna is on the left-hand side, right on the fender, is the word slasher scratched in the fender. I witnessed that car being cut in half. I witnessed that car being taken to the dump. I broke my arm the day that happened. I actually broke my arm taking half of that car out of that back of that truck up there at the dump. So I would goddamn remember I broke my arm at that. My dad told me after it was all over, he said, don't you ever say another thing about that car. That goddamn car will get me in trouble. He came in the bowling alley, and I said something about Johnny Carson, because he left the bowling alley, to go partying up at the Roadhouse. He'd leave me in the bowling alley, and he'd come in the bowling alley, and I was watching Johnny Carson. He says, Johnny Carson! It's like, goddamn, like something to fucking remember. Don't say that Johnny Carson. Boy, he made it fucking me remember about this goddamn car. I just want you to know that. And look, I wrote this stuff a long time ago. I just pulled this out of my file cabinet. I just didn't whip this up last night. The car was placed right there on Temple. I mean, it's a temple and it's a point. You get the point? They put things on the point, by the way. Like Pillar Point, and like right here at Alpine and Delphi, it's a point. Do you get the point? My lawyer's office up there at Harrison Avenue and Plymouth in Olympia, Washington, and the Clinton's music store is right next door. You get the point? Mr. James Rowland, when he found out my dad was the guy that had the bowling alley, goddamn, he just fucking laced his hands up behind his head. And I was telling him about my brother Jim need an attorney. Well, like I'm saying, right here, Terry Lance Shortridge, he was murdered on my bed. You see, Lance, John F. Kennedy's name is Lancer. His code name is Lancer. You see, this is tied into that. Well, look at that. December 12th. 6 and 6 is 12. 27. 9. I just see things. But then again, like here's Terry White. Her house was burnt down across the street from my house. Oh, and by the way, the sheriff that was here yesterday, he said, give me one good reason why I should arrest these guys. And I said, well, Terry Lance Shortridge was murdered on my bed. And also Rick Rife here, he's been passed off as Jerry Wright, because my dad in that goddamn bowling alley in Morton, Washington, and I don't give a heck. I would have never done anything for a bowling alley for free. Jerry Wright had passed Rick Rife off. They framed this man. I knew this guy's brother, Greg. It's actually John Rife. He went by the Greg Rife when I was a kid. I only met him when I was in Mossy Rock. They came from Alaska. There was no mother. I think the mother was dead. There was no mother. There was just the dad and these two boys that showed up in Mossy Rock. And I was only there for a brief period of time, but I did meet Greg. I don't believe Greg did it. Greg levitated towards me. He was a nice boy. He was his brother. I never met Rick, this man right here. But I sure goddamn met this guy. And this guy broke out the windows of Sidney G. Ingdahl's residence at 159 Alpha Road, like the Alpha and the Omega. This guy also broke out the windows across the street from our house in Port Angeles, Washington. This guy also was burning down people's house stuff behind Jackie Stockard's house next door to our house. He was arsoning. My brother Jim and him walked into the house and sat down in front of the TV and stuff in front of my sister. My sister realized that they'd been out arsoning after things. I remember the day that the fire was behind the house, and Jerry comes in. Jim comes running in. Mom, we found a fire. Jerry comes in and puts his head right down on the bed, like I seen my dad bawling for his dad dying. You know, I was there when my dad's dad died. I was the only one that witnessed my mom speaking to my dad in such a way and telling her dad was dead. This guy right here, he's the goddamn Cooper. My wife was calling him the prop. And if my ex-wife doesn't want to fucking admit it, she's got selective goddamn memory. But I don't. I want this guy's asshole. I told that sheriff that yesterday too. And this guy right here, framed that guy. And this guy had this guy murdered right in my fucking bed right in front of me. And I told that goddamn detective what I fucking want. And I really goddamn want this bitch. And I want this bitch. And I get really goddamn angry when I see that motherfucker's face. Now here's my face. You see that? They slammed it all over the United States of America. How would you like that? I'm an innocent person. I'm more of a J6 hostage. Here's a picture of me in Port Angeles, Washington. I'm being held in a cage. Look at the eyes of a victim. Looking at somebody. I'm Clarence the Cross-Eyed Lion. They're calling me Clarence the Cross-Eyed Lion. Doctari, Doctari, Doctari. They're walking past me using a spoon, clinking it on my cage as they walk through the dining room. I'm looking across at my sister's piano where she's forced to play the piano, and me and Bonnie's forced to comply. And they took my sister's child from her and made and introduced the child as my sister when it was really my aunt. I feel betrayed by all of my family members, all of them. This woman, she took a picture of the Bill Fairhart Cemetery. There's my dad's bowling alley in the background. It's pointing right at it. Why did this woman do such a thing? Why has somebody cleaned off art on it and A over the 18666, 1966. One is a 6 if you read it right. And right there, Bill Fairhart. Why would a person take a picture of that? And Lori took that. Lori, what was her? Lori Stanley took that picture, and she put it there. And there's the mortuary that's sitting over there. You can see part of the building. When you come out of that door, you see the mortuary right there. If you tell anybody, we'll kill you. I've got a lot of friends in that cemetery that was murdered. And so was Billy Walker Bagley. And now they got a stretcher on my in my bowling alley in Centralia, Washington, on the wall that says Walkers. Walkers Bar. Yeah, a bunch of walkers are there because why? Because you get out of goddamn jail for free if you fucking do their goddamn bullshit. Right here. Picture Jerry Wright, picture my dad, right there. And Jerry Wright, he used to like dressing up like that with a suit with the glasses on and stuff. Boy, that's fucking son of a bitch. And he must have lived at the Liberty as, hey, I'm Jerry Wright. My dad was the coop, because I'll tell you what, if there was a goddamn dope deal around, that guy was fucking in it. Collecting money for the Lewis County cops. Regurgitating money from the drugs that was brought in just to be recirculated again. Again, here's the Zodiac thing. Here's the information right there. Proving George Wright is the Zodiac. That's his wedding license certificate thing, application from Clark County, Washington, where the actual Zodiac crime took place, where they jumped out of the plane near the farm at 15619 3rd Avenue Northeast, Brush Prairie, Washington. I'm not reading off something as this. I'm using my mind, whatever the thing is. And there's a picture of my brother Jim's face. Now, if anybody knows my brother Jim, there's a picture of my dad. And now you go back here and you look at the Zodiac picture right here. I mean, Jesus Christ, does this look like it's the guy? You can't tell me that it's not. The Zodiac and D.B. Cooper's the same guy. Here I am. I finally found out. And by the way, here's the Fairhearts. And I told you they were involved in the wartime in Lebanon. The 50 American hostages right there. There are 50 J6 hostages. Jesus Christ. The 50 Beirut hostages right there. Here's the family coming back from them. You know, this family says they got treated like royalty coming through customs and stuff, and they almost got a personal flight here. Like they were treated like royalty. Why? Because they were involved in the goddamn bombing, and look at the woman hide behind the man. Now, there's a lot of, you got to read into the pictures. What does these pictures actually mean? And by the way, the Ely Fairheart is posed in Morton, Washington, reading a paper, the bombing in Lebanon, about those very soldiers that was murdered in Beirut during the Reagan administration. And right then, the Reagan administration, something like that, happened on their watch. It happened on Nixon's watch, problems. It happened on John F. Kennedy's watch because of Richard Milhouse Nixon. You know, there was a grudge, and Nixon got murdered. And you know what people say? We did him a favor. You know what people say in America? We did that guy a favor. Well, he never did that guy a favor. They murdered him. Here I am, on the run. They've been threatening me with 30-30 all my life. There's a fatal boy that was shot on my bed. Terry Lance Shortridge. I goddamn guarantee you it. Here's my sister's child that was taken away from her. Right here, this is my sister Bonnie's child. Debbie Ann Wright is my sister Bonnie's child. They passed her off as my sister. Here's Mrs. Ruth. This is one of the victims of the tube sock killers. She went to school in Brush Prairie, Washington with my mother. You know what? I bet you there was drugs involved in this. And my brother Jerry went to school up there at this here school where these here people were, at a trade school through the Department of L&I. So right there, my brother Jerry was at this very spot, and he probably knew these very people that got murdered at the Tube Sock Killers. And by the way, her name has L in it, and by the way, her son's name is Jerry L, after Jerry L. Dunn, my mother's brother that was murdered when she was a child. Just let you know. This is Brian Harnell, the attorney that has an upper lip problem. He wants to zip his lip and not say a goddamn thing. Because why? He's made money off the Zodiac ever since. And he took Celia to there so they could kill her. I'll bet you anything that this guy right here, possibly, there's a really bad feeling I have with Brian Harnell. I just don't know. I tried to talk to him, and his office wouldn't talk to me, even though I presented him with the facts. But that's the way it is. People make money off the Zodiac. Everybody's made money off the Zodiac except me. And there's Celia right there. This woman, my brother's mother-in-law, Celia Dunn. And this is Cecilia right here. Jerry married Celia Dunn because, oh, he's following signs. And the name's Dunn, and he has sex with his mother, which is Marietta L. Dunn. So this is what it is. It's the alphabet murders is what it is. It's the Zodiac. Oh, now this here's Darlene. She got murdered. I was in California when this woman right here got murdered. I was in the motorhome when my dad came in. My dad came in the motorhome. It just said on the radio, the Zodiac Killer has just struck. I said, Dad, the Zodiac Killer's near me. He's nowhere near us. The Zodiac Killer just walked through into the camper, and I was the only one that didn't know, and you should have seen the look on everyone's face. Victims have faces, and I want people to goddamn see them. Now this one right here, this guy right here, ROTC, and that's Betty Lou Jensen right there, and that's David. He's ROTC, and she became a victim through the Boy Scouts of America, and a hit was put on them. Like James Rowland, and like Bruce Kimsey, ROTC. He says that he was haunted for that murder of the Merwins since a childhood. Boy, I'll tell you what, I'd like to have Bruce Kimsey's asshole too. I goddamn would. When I seen all this shit and I found out my family was hiding behind this here stuff or forced to comply or die, I goddamn would not fucking put up with it. Because it's fucking disturbed my life so much. I thank you for your time this morning. I think I made a point. I hope I made a point. And I'll tell you what, I confronted a sheriff right here at the property yesterday, and there's no goddamn excuse for what the things that he said. He's a Republican, and I asked him, I cornered him on that. He says, you know, he can't talk about it during work hours. Well, I don't need to talk to him after work hours because he's not going to be my goddamn buddy. Thank you for your time, but I will address it. He was a nice man. I hope for him and his family the best. Be a man. Be a hero like I told you. I said, I'm going to allow you to be a hero today. And thank you, America, and I would allow you to be too. Thank you very much for being here.